Hello, I'm Julia Cordova. Thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel and liking my videos on YouTube. I really appreciate it. So last week was super exciting. We hit the target line of ES in both my weekly and my daily charts, and we broke the F out on miners. So let's see what we got for this week. I think it's going to be exciting, and there's some pretty good setups. So ready? Whoop. All right. Okay, let's start off by looking at ES or SPX weekly futures. So during the day on Friday, we actually almost exactly hit my target in the daily, which I'll show you in just a second. And then right after, of course, I posted it like a peacock. You know how we do, right? Of course, it goes up and hits my weekly target, which was only 5 points off. But the important part of that is that both targets were very close to each other. So there is some significant resistance there. However, we didn't see much of a wick at all on the weekly. And this is, it's typical. I mean, that happens, right? I mean, we had a situation here where that happened. But typically what happens when you don't have hardly any of a wick here is that you do get some upward thrust the next week. So what we have to watch for next week is we're watching the bottom of, we're actually watching the top of the channel we just broke out of, which is now what once was resistance is now support. So now we are watching 4118.06, and if it breaks above 4183 and holds for any length of time, that means that potentially we have another leg up after this channel. The measured move, if we stay above 4118, is this living through chemistry line. And I didn't mark it, but it's 4380 or so. Let me go ahead and mark it here. 4380 or so. It's 04, but okay, whatever. I'm gonna change it because whatever. Sorry, I'm not prepared. I thought I was. Okay. All right. Anyway, if we hold above this 4118, that's the next target, 4380. And before that, though, we have to deal with this resistance. So it's likely that we spend the beginning of the week, if not retracing, chopping. So let's see what happens. All right, now let's look at the daily. Okay, same thing. Like I said, I was like proud like a peacock. I was like, what? We hit this within 6 cents, yo. And then it goes up and whatever. Anyway, we did close the week below it. So just like I said on the weekly, the most likely thing here, in my opinion, would be some chop. I did put on a tiny short just to hold my place. I'm not bearish at all. It was just like, you buy support and you sell resistance, right? Right. And it's gone up for quite some time. But I don't see anything here that is imminently bearish. The RSI is, it's still okay. It's not, it's not in turbo zone yet, but it's not overstretched. So let's see whether or not we get chop, 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 or flag, 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 flag. And in which case, we'll make a new price target on the daily. Otherwise, I'm just going to, if we break above 4178 and it looks like we're going to hold, then I'll start marking this line to see what we're looking for. But I see some chop, 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 chop. Watch the MAs for like some secret activity. I don't know. MAs are really good. Somebody asked me, I watched the 9, the 20, and the 50. I'm not complicated because I know the algos know that we look at that. So why would I look at anything else? I look at what the algos look at. All right, let's look at NASDAQ weekly. Oh boy, we broke above this NASDAQ weekly resistance last week. So the measured move, should we hold 13,978? Which I don't know if we will or not, but the measured move, if we did, would be 15,209.66. I didn't mark that. Let me mark that. And who knows, when it'll get there, but hold 209.66. Right? That's what I said? Yeah. Okay. How did I get that measured move? I took the height of this channel and I added it to where we broke out. So this is what needs to hold at the end of the week. And if it does hold at the end of the week, I think that's pretty freaking bullish for this next price target. If we upward thrust and then close the week below 3978.22. That would qualify as a fakey breaky. Now, not all fakey breakies result in hugely down activity. Some of them chop, 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 chop. But we'll deal with that when we come to it. That's what I'm watching for this week. As support, if you wanted to buy a dip, this was actually, look, it didn't really move that much, right? From a weekly perspective. So I wonder if it's starting to run out of gas a little bit. We'll have to see where we open, but 13,978 is the first thing that we watch. If it holds that, 15,209. That's a huge, well, we'll have to see. Now we do have some room here on the RSI. So follow me on Twitter. Ready? Now let's look at the daily. We still haven't reached my target for NASDAQ. So like I said, it might be that we go up and then down. It's possible. But my measured move target from this flag breakout is 14,134.79. So while we met it on ES, our targets on the ES flags, we did not meet it yet on NASDAQ. Doesn't mean necessarily that it will get met. It'll get met. No, I don't know. But that is the measured move. And of course, we dealt with resistance when we came to it and then up. Now, from a daily perspective, I don't have a lot here from, NQ is hard to do, so stick with ES if you're looking for closer things. But what needs to hold from a bull perspective would be 13,787, and the next sort of resistance or slash measured move, because this is technically resistance, is now it's support, is 14,134. If we break through here, then we've got this level, which I'll have to update because I don't know when we'd break through it if we do. And then, of course, the huge level that bulls must maintain is this 13,592. Because look how, we had this marked way long ago, and look at this. It didn't actually come back down here at all. It just consolidated and then whooped. And then it just, once it got above here and closed, it just back tested and then whooped. So it's just whooping. It's whooping. It's whooping a lot. It does have some potential divergence here, but that could go away. However, what I would love to have happen is hit it and quit it off of this flag line. That's what I'd like to see. But anyway, let's see. Okay, now let's look at Tesla. So, this triangle that I just moved from here to here worked out really well for us because the second we closed above it, whoop, yo. Now we didn't quite hit this blue line yet, which is actually a very bullish thing because the more flaggy up, the more that when it does get above this blue line, if we're doing one of these piecewise analogous segments, mirror fractal reverse shadow thingies, which means that I'm going to explain it one more time. It hits the support line, goes above slightly lower and then down. It hit this support line, goes below slightly higher and then up. I would expect it that if it got above this blue line at any time, it's going to whoop out. Yo. That's what I think. All right, let's look at gold. All right, we had a breakout out of this channel. Yay. So that means, in my opinion, buy the freaking dip. Okay? Yeah. Unless it gets below 1764.9, in which case, ruh-roh. But, that is the weekly level that I'm watching. If you missed out on gold, if you're thinking that, potentially gold is going to go up for the longer term and you didn't hold all this time after this fakey breaky, what are y'all doing? Anyway, I would buy the freaking dip down to 1764.9. And if it gets above 1788.9, which is the key level, which is all this time, it needs to get there to be bullish. Why? Because look how much has gone down. However, look how much has gone up. Okay? So, above this key level, very bullish. Above this 1764.9 level, bullish. It's bullish. And if you look at these handy MAs, We just got above the weekly 50 for the first time. We closed above it 2 weeks ago. Right on it. Right on it. Right on it. And then whoop. Okay. So the next sort of resistance after this key, when it gets above there, will be the 20. If it closes above the 20, which for this week is, ready for it, 1800.5. It closes above that. Yo. Now, it doesn't mean it won't dip, but yo, buy it. Okay. Got nothing to say about smaller time frames except for, excuse me, this is a flag, an up flag. But I would say, it's got some slight divergence here. See how the RSI is a little bit lower when the price was higher. That could have already handled it. So it is right off of support here, which is also, by the way, a little bit of divergence because prices. Yeah. So watch. I would just say buy a dip. Buy the dip to this value, 176.4.9. All right, let's look at silver. Same. If you squint your eyes and you kind of visualize a flag here, you can see that it's broken out. And silver, though, is still above all the MAs here, and the MAs are looking to cross. Well, I mean, I guess you want them all going. They're looking to start going up. So, the very bullish key level I have on silver for this weekly time frame is 26.94. Above that, I don't think we're gonna. If we close above that, I don't think we're gonna see the 26s again for a little bit of time. Okay, very bullish. Yeah. Okay. Same deal here. It's doing something weird on the hourly, so we'll have to watch that. But I like it. Let's look at GDX. So, we had quite the breakout. We are above 2 of these MAs now, and the next one is it's not marked on my chart, but it looks to be about 36.71 or so. So that's the next sort of resistance in between these channel lines. Now, a lot of people, when I was buying here, because remember I said this is the week to scale in. A lot of people when I was buying here said, Julia, everybody's talking about a head and shoulders. And they were talking about, I guess, I don't really know because I didn't ever see one, but I think this shoulder, they thought this was a head, and then they were kind of, I don't know what they were doing. One of their armpits was like way off. Anyway, they thought this was another shoulder. I will say, watch out for this. This is a shoulder. This is a neckline. Now it is building potentially another shoulder. So in order for this to be ooperty, superty, bullish, it has to get above this martini line, which would be the top of a shoulder-ish thing, okay? So once it's above 38.84, okay, all right, okay, because it broke out of the flag already. Now, this dotted line I have here, this is the real deal. This means that it might consolidate and chop around, but once it's above the dotted line, I think that's an all clear, yo. And if I measure the length of this flag, from the bottom to the top, from the breakout to here, the target, should it get above this dotted line, wherever it is when it gets there, I don't know how to do that, is 64.24. I gotta put a finish line in there, one of those little checkered flags. Here we go. Oh. Oops. Very attainable, I believe. Let's make it blue, because, Okay, I think this is very attainable. Yeah. As long as it gets above this dotted line. So now we got to watch for making sure this is not a head and shoulders. However, I will say, since I'm an anatomist now on Twitter, this is a little dank shoulder for the size of this head. So is it a head and shoulders? Possibly. But this is a dank little shoulder for the size of this head. So we'll have to see. Let's do it level by level. And we're not anywhere near RSI resistance here. Buy the back test if it gets there. If it gives you an opportunity and you didn't yet do it. Somebody else said, I think it was Soccer Mom, said, well, all of my friends are saying that they got in this. what did you get into that? And she was saying that, that she was going to kind of wait till they got off their high horses. I don't know. I mean, unless they were following moi, and I am up more than 40% on my GDXU, and I'm doing pretty good in my other stuff. But unless they were following me, I don't think this is anything to write home about, especially because most people, I think, didn't trust my fakey breaky call, didn't sell their stuff, didn't rebuy it down here. So I think a lot of people are still in a lot of pain from having dealt with all this. So I'm going to hold it. Okay, let's look at oil. Now, I like to point out always when I am spectacularly right, because that is the majority of the time. What? No, I'm just kidding. What? No. Okay, anyway, last week I thought oil looked pretty bearish, to be frank with you, because I thought this was more curvy than flaggy. However, I was incorrect. I was wrong. So right now, back to looking bullish. I would still buy any dip down to, but I'm also not trading it, so I don't really care. But I would buy any dip down to this 56 level or so. I would actually love that. And I was looking here to see whether or not we had any kind of similar, kind of weird, things. And maybe this. So maybe we get something like this hammery thing this next week. And sort of, because everybody's like, oh, buy it. Like, duh. So maybe it'll give us kind of like, oh, but do we buy it? Do we, though? Because this is not, these equities, especially given how ES and NQ performed, these equities are not, they're not singing the same song as the commodity, okay? This is the weekly futures for oil. This is the weekly oil stocks. So one of them is like, I think it's this one. I think so. And wouldn't we love a back test down to 72.09? Yep, we sure would. I would. Okay, let's look at Nete. Oh, Lord. All right, well, I did draw in a new thing. I drew in a triangle because that's what I see. I see a triangle. I see lower highs and higher lows. Is that right? Yeah. And it's just triangulating. So finally, last week, we've had two of these closes right on my trend line. Finally, last week, bulls had something to say or something not to cry about. So right now we're above the key level, which is 2.564. And we did not, however, reach the breakout level, at least from a weekly perspective, of 2.714. So we had a good week, but, nothing to write home about at this time. And potentially could be a little, I don't want to say it out loud. I'm going to say it. It could be a little bear flaggy. And Natty in general is very hard to trade. So if you're not experienced in it or don't know anything about sadism or masochism, then don't try it at home. Okay. But actually, I'm long. So, okay. I got to screw myself in some way. All right, let's look at Joe. So I talked about last week, it's having the same sort of pattern as GDX here and gold and so forth. So it's had sort of a flaggy thing. It started to break the F out and then came back down here. So I would say that I did not yet rebuy what I sold. So I thought I missed it at the beginning of the week. I was like, uh-oh, I missed it. But what I'm going to say is if it gets near this 36.66 level, I'm going to look at it on smaller time frames. And I think I'm going to buy it back because I think it's super bullish longer term. I think they're just making us wait for it. So if it gets near here, especially if it gets under here a little bit, I'm going to buy it. That's my plan. Okay, that's it. Okay, make myself big. Thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel and hitting the like button. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in the interwebs. Okay, bye.